condition. You have to bring a proof from the Quran and the Sunnah for every condition. Okay? And if you can't, excuse me? Yes, ma'am. By Wednesday, Woden's Day. The Catholic Woden's Day. And if you can't bring it from the Quran and the Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah, meaning authentic hadith, or an athar statement from one of the Sahaba, stopping at Sahaba, then you have to bring it from the Maliki madhab.
Only the Maliki?
Only Malik, yes, that's the restriction. Except for you bring from the Shafi.
It's easiest to get it from the Quran.
It would be if you can find it. That's the point. Okay, the point is. Sorry?
Have to be better, so only evidence is not going to.
So we're gonna see, because there's this we're constantly talking, and there's no way it gets to just jump into it. The term Salafi, everybody's calling, not everybody, but we're saying I'm Salafi. This thing has gone so far that people will say that I'm Salafi quicker than they will say that I'm Muslim. You get my point? And then if I say, saying that you're Salafi is a bid'ah, who would think that I was crazy? A lot of people. But let's ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What does it mean to be Salafi? To follow Sahaba. Okay, right. Which one of the Sahaba called himself Salafi? None. So then what Sahaba you follow? Does that make sense? What did Allah say? You say you Salafi. You say I follow the Quran and the Sunnah. On the understanding of the first three generations, right? So, where in the Quran does it say to call you Salafi? It tells you to call yourself what? Muslim. And he makes a point over and over again. Tells you to call to Islam, right? And he says to call yourself Muslim. I'll be the first one to call yourself Muslim, right? Whoa, the mothers jumped up. That's right. That's right. I like that. I like seeing let mothers jump up. Keep them sharp. Dang. They on the top. Yeah. Now, some people say, well, what do you do? Yeah, Abba Taubah with the hadith in Sahih Muslim that says the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Fatima, Ana khairul salaf. Like, I'm the best salaf for you. Okay? I say, what do Ahl al-Hadith do? Ahl al-Hadith, when you take a hadith, they say before you can apply it, what do you have to bring? A qareem. Then bring me a Sahaba that understood it that way. If you're going to apply the hadith and say that means you're supposed to call yourself Salafi, why didn't Abu Bakr take that hadith then? Why didn't Umar? Why didn't Uthman or Ali? Or the 1,400 Sahaba that were at Hudaybiyah? How come none of them did? Even the first three generations, none of them called themselves Salafi. Rather, the word Salafi was said to the dead. Kana Salafiyya. He was Salafi. When it referred to someone who died. But while you're living, you call yourself Muslim, and hopefully they'll call you Salafi when you die. And they'll say, Kana Salafiyyan yamilu ila Malikiyya, or yamilu ila Shafi'iyya, or Hanabila, or Ahnaf. Inclining towards whatever madhab they incline towards. Why do I say inclining? Because they follow the Quran and the Sunnah. And they only incline towards the statements of those fuqaha when they couldn't find it in the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what I meant. That's why we came to it today, in this particular point. Does that make sense? So, now what is a bid'ah? Because I called it a bid'ah, right? What is a bid'ah? No. Linguistics, see, this is the problem. We take a piece of a definition and think that's the definition. Okay? A bid'ah is any action that, and there's a bunch of different types of bid'ah. One of them is that you do something, right, that is opposing something that is nadabun or wajibun. Nadab is mustahab, something that is encouraged, or something that is wajib, obligatory. You do something that opposes that is different from that. If it's mustahab or nadabun, then it's no problem. You didn't do anything wrong. It's encouraged. You can go. For example, many of the men shave their heads into what we call a Caesar, right? You guys know the haircut, they call it, is there another name for it?
Caesar, Mohawk.
Fade.
No, the fade, not the fade, because the fade is haram. But I'm talking about they cut it one level. It's like really short, like Eid has on. Qaza, not qaza. Take your hat off, please. You see, they cut it real short, okay? Even shorter than that. You know, the guy, they put the waves in it. What do they call that haircut? They call it a Caesar, right? Yeah, Caesar's the king, the Roman cat, you know? Now that opposes the sunnah.
Caesar?
That's right. You saying you having a haircut, that's called Caesar. Not only that, even if it wasn't called Caesar, but all the fact it's called Caesar is even more of a opposition to the sunnah. The sunnah of the Sahaba, of the Salaf, was to have their hair long, to grow their hair long. However, it is not a bid'ah for you to cut your hair, because it's not wajib to grow your hair long. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you see the difference? It doesn't make it a bid'ah because it is not wajib to grow your hair long. It just opposes the sunnah. So, you've left off what was better. Does that make sense? However, there are some people who cut their hair that low, lower than what Eid has, real low. You guys, like I said, the Caesar, thinking that this is tadayyuna. This is so I can look more like a Muslim. Does that make sense? They say this is my Muslim, so I can wear the kufi, the small kufis. You guys follow me? Right. Now that's a bid'ah. Now it has become a bid'ah. Why?
Because they say look more like a Muslim.
Right, because they did it, as Ibn Taymiyyah says, tadayyunan. They did this act thinking that it's part of the deen. Now, why do people call themselves Salafi again? Because they think it's part of the deen. That's why it's a bid'ah. Do you follow me, guys? So we have to really, the emperor has no clothes. This thing is empty. It has no stance. And it not only does it oppose the sunnah, and it's a clear bid'ah, it's become a problem. And it allows the kuffar to attack us, because they can attack Salafiyah. They can't attack Islam. They can say we're attacking the Wahhabis, we're attacking the Salafi, but they can't say we're attacking the Muslims. We're attacking Islam. You get me? But in reality, they're using that term to attack Islam and the Muslims. And we have all these new Muslims coming in who think they're on something, but they're not. Does that make sense? So there is, and one of the things they do, they think that they leave off following the Salaf. Now, is Imam Malik a Salaf?
Yes.
Yes, he's one of the Salaf, one of the Imams of the Salaf, right?
Yes.
But they'll say, don't follow the madhab of Imam Malik. I thought you was following the Salaf. You see now, you see the oxymoronism? You see the ignorance? They say that a Salafi means I'm going to follow the Salaf, right? I'm going to follow the first three generations. But if you say I'm going to follow the madhab of Imam Malik or the madhab of the Imam Shafi'i, the way these people went, then they say that you are doing a bid'ah. And that you, la madhab, you shouldn't follow madhab. I thought you was all about following the Salaf. And these people are clearly from the Salaf, aren't they? Then why can't you follow them? I'm asking you guys.
You can.
Now, the reason why people, if you ask some of these people, they're afraid to speak at that time because they haven't thought about it. And they're not used to thinking on their own. They're used to going with the crowd. So they'll look around. What do you say? If everybody say, yeah. And if everybody say nothing, then no. See, now their allegiance is to what? To Salafiyya, not to Islam. Tell me which one of the Imams of the Salaf or which one of the Sahaba called to da'wah to Salafiyya. Name one where you heard them or read anywhere they said, I'm calling a da'wah to Salafiyya. Where does it say in the Quran to call to that? It says call to Islam. And anything else besides Islam, فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ, it will never be accepted. And they said, well, this is really calling to that. No, that's you saying the same thing as the Tablighi Jamaat then. What's different than you and any other group that says they're calling to Allah, but they have a different name? You shut them down and say you can't follow any of these groups because they're calling to a different name. Well, ain't you doing the same thing? Now, I'm not saying don't follow the Salaf, because that's what they'll tell. Oh, Abu Talib was against following Salaf. No, I'm not. I'm against them cats that's in that cult, that's perpetrating the fraud, that's lying, saying that they follow Salaf and they ain't follow Salaf one thing in their life. Now, and they say they follow the Quran and the Sunnah, right? Well, half of them don't even know the Quran. More than half. Because if you follow the Quran the way the Salaf did, how many times a month did the Salaf finish reading the Quran? Every 7 days. Now, how many times do these guys who claim they're following the Salaf finish the Quran? That's as many times they finish it. And they read it in English. If they read it. You get my point? Now, I'm just naming that one because that's the main one, because you claim you follow the Quran, yet you ain't ready. That's the first thing you're supposed to be Salafi, right? You want to follow Salaf in that. You're busy in all this, that, and the other thing, but you're not reading the Quran on a weekly basis like they did, finishing it. But you're busy with this, and you're going to tell me this one is off, and that one is off, and this one is in that one, and this is in that one, that one, other one. So, it's not impressive. And we have to stop giving it room. And we stand up for Islam, and that's it. Does that make sense? So now you go try to follow and establish the proofs on how to offer Salah from the Quran, from the authentic Sunnah, and if you don't find it, then besides Shaykh al-Idrisi, everybody else, find it in the madhab of Imam Malik, what to do next. Does that make sense? Because we're going to follow the Salaf. We're not going to think we are the Salaf, which becomes the mentality when they say, oh, I'm Salafi, they think that they are the Salaf. No, we're the Khalaf. Okay? Yeah, we come after. All right, so let's open our books. Let's start with our poem. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I gave my word with heart to praise Allah, send blessings on, respect the scholars. All Muslimin must fight Shaitan, expect mistakes, repent to fight. So the first thing that now that I can live accountable in every way, my actions toil on is look to see what faith have I complied with his command? What do I think about Allah? The meaning of Shahada is the first thing. There is no God for real except the one and only. The Khalqu, he created it, and for them, he manages affairs of theirs. Now, can we stop here and say that we're mentioning here that these are the names of Rububiyyah? The Khalqu. That means he's Al-Khaliq, the creator. He created it, and for them, he provides. So he's Al-Razzaq, Al-Kareem, right? He manages, Mudabbiru, right? So these are the names of Allah we're referring to here. Does that make sense? This is Rububiyyah. Just in case someone didn't catch that part of Tawheed that we put there. Okay? And for them, he provides, he manages affairs of theirs from. As Allah says, he manages affairs of theirs. This is exactly the ayah, what it says. Right, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Too high, I say, sublime is he for? What is a nadir? Competitor. Allah has no competitors, right? And this is what shahada means, but there are conditions tied to it, to which we must, like knowledge and yaqeen, and then inqiyadu, then there's sidq, ikhlasu, and Allah we ask for help, and to then every Muslim must concur. Muhammad is sent by Allah, therefore we trust. Now you gotta say everything he said to us. We must obey his orders and he brought the laws full and complete. All sacred laws must come from him. Not sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You gotta get some rhythms. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then I have to learn the things I need to do my. Now you see how that goes, right? First we deal with that Aqidah issue, right? What did we deal with Aqidah? First, Rububiyyah, right? Why Allah should be worshipped. Then the Shahadatan, right? Then we moved on. Because remember, we're dealing with that circle, piece by piece, you know? So then, and then I have to learn the things I need to do my. Now, the rest of the farda ain't come now, right? First we did with Allah, now we're dealing with the rest of the commands, right? Have I complied with his commands, with the commands of faith? Like regulations of, and just how much to pay, the parts of Hajj, is Ramadan, and this obligation. Now this understanding, again, that we have to do these actions, what does it do? This obligates to learn the laws, and that's why you're here, to fulfill your obligation, right? To learn the laws and then not just what they mean, to apply it, right? To apply it. So, and this is a point here that, you know, we have to get beyond following the crowd, okay? We have to, once you know, you have yaqeen, certainty, now it demands action. Where do you stand? And that's when it gets scary with people, because you might stand alone, right? You might stand alone. But you know that Allah is with you, right? And this is from the message that we learned from our prophet Ibrahim. He stood alone. Kana ummatan. So ummah in and of itself. Does that make sense? So alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. This obligates all Muslimin. I've sworn to do. That's right. So we're rejuvenating our intention. We're reminding ourselves. Not only we're gonna learn the laws and what they mean. Why? Because I've sworn to do Allah's command. If I can't, how can I do it if I don't know how to do it, right? And not to do one thing haram. And remember Adam got kicked out of Jannah for one thing. Right? So we want to do Allah's command and not to do. So when I fail, what does that mean? So when I fail, I will fail. Not that I'm trying, but I recognize, because we say expect mistakes, repent to fight. So when I fail, I will. You see, now we're going back over it again, right? We said, okay, we mentioned it there, now we're going to show how. So when I fail, before I get from up above, Allah Most High, before my soul, why is he saying that?
That's your last chance.
Right, because he's telling you the time frame you have to repent. That's the first thing. You have to do this before you die. Okay? So you have like they said, they give you a fine, you got 30 days to pay. Right? Hey, if you commit this crime, you have up until the time of death. But guess what? You don't know what it is. So that's the thing right there. You don't know when that time is. Before I get a punishment. From where? From up above. Allah Most High, before my soul is. Now we talk about what is repentance. Not what is repentance, the conditions for repentance. Repentance will not be correct until I'm sad and for what I've done, and I intend that sin again. And if still sinning, I must stop all sinful deeds right on the spot. Right on the spot. Okay? And no, it's not halal to say maybe. For those who think like that will find he plans to drop their souls in hell, turn to Allah, say astaghfirullah wa atubu day.
100 times in every day.
Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh.
That's all the Muslim has.
Why do you say that's all the Muslim has to say?
Covers everything.
No, that's not why. It's true, but that's not why. Surah Al-Baqarah.
Yeah.
Tell me, don't say yes.
No, we don't have to the burden that Beni Israel had.
Right. Bani Israel is called Hebrew, right? In English, we say the word Hebrew. But from the Arabic word, it's called the Ibra. Okay? What is an Ibra? Ibra is an example. Ibratan leghayr, to be an example, right? For someone else. And they are an example for us, are they not?
Yes.
And so what happened with Bani Israel, Allah told them in order for them to repent, they had to kill themselves. Right? So for us to say that's all a Muslim has to say is to appreciate how easy Allah has made it for us to ask for permission to repent, to get back in that position. For them, they had to kill themselves. So that's what we say. Oh man, go check around the corner for the baby girl. She ran this way. Okay. Children as fast as grease light. So what ain't no everybody needs no Red Bull tonight. How are we gonna explain that to Hassan? So then when we say that's all a Muslim has to say, that we're being grateful. Okay? That's all we have. We move on. We finished that whole section. We move on to them. What's the next section? What's it called? Tahara. What is tahara? Purification. Okay? As babies we were, potty trained, so toilet moves. Say, make dua and with no reading, writing. Squat the way the Prophet taught. Relieved and clean, with thanks we'll pray. This should be easy because we use this every day. Fiqh becomes easy when you apply it, right? Relieved and clean, with thanks we'll pray. And then that's the thing that's good. It's relieved and clean. So we should be thankful for that opportunity. We pray Ghufranak as we walk away. Now we begin to be grateful to Allah for that particular situation. Better not rush it. Better think about Allah. And now we say we're not rushing because usually if you don't have that relief, there's a sense of tension. And people want to run into the bathroom, right? It says, better not rush in. Better think about Allah because there might be some jet. Say, A'udhu billahi minal. I seek refuge in Allah from them. And that's what khubthi wal khaba'ith are. Dirty, nasty jinn. Follow me? Yes, ma'am.
When I read the translation, it says male and female.
That's right. It's male and female. It's letting you know that they're both there. Okay? One of the reasons is because women don't like for men to see them, right? And women don't like male jinns to see them. Right? So how can you prevent yourself from being exposed? Make that dua before you go. And likewise, men don't want the ladies to see them. Right? We have the same hishma. Right? So they're both there. So what do we do to prevent that? We make the dua. Does that help? Is that scary enough?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. What's next? Say Bismillah and wash my hands. Wash my hands out and blow my nose, then wash my face. I wash my arms until they bend. Wash my ears inside and out. Go up and down. So there's no doubt what?
That you got it.
Because you got the whole thing, right? Then make sure that I wash my feet with ankles washed.
Wudu is complete.
Wudu's complete. Not wudu is complete. It's too proper. Wudu's complete. We're going to make it, we're anglicizing the word. Wudu's complete. We anglicize the term, okay? It just sounds too simple. Wudu is complete now. Wudu's complete. We say wudu like that. Alhamdulillah. Huh? Idgham, right? Idgham. Okay, so what's next? Okay, so now we're finished the section with tahara, right? So now after tahara, tahara takes a noble spot after aqidah, before salah. Okay? 11 cleansing points in order. All of them begin with water. Okay, so now we're finished with wudu for the moment. I mean, not wudu, with tahara for the moment. And now we move over to a salah. So what's the first thing we need to know? No. The fardu salah. The fardu salah. You get my point, guys?
Yeah.
Now, what does it mean to have fardu salah? What does that mean? Now we get into understanding the salah. Because it's going to be disagreed about to some degree. Depending on which one of the salaf you're listening to. You see my point? Now, what does it mean to have fardu salah? These are things that if you don't do it, the whole salah don't count no more. It's null and void. You miss any one of these things, there's no ijbaruha. You can't correct it. Does that make sense? So let's start from the beginning. The knee is made. Come on, look at the paper, guys. The knee is made
before salah.
Before salah. Say it with their emphasis. The knee is made
Before salah.
clearing my head, made in
My heart.
Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the first one. I wrote it up here for you to see. You need to bring me proof that the knee is made before salah, and you don't have to say, Allahumma inni nawaitu an usalli rak'atayn lis-salati al-duha al-an mubashiratan liwajhika al-kareem. You know, that you don't have to... Yeah. But that's only one proof. Timing doesn't answer where the timing is. Okay? So the knee is made clear in my head. So you don't even have to say anything. You know what you're going to go do, right? It's clear in your head and it's made where? Takbiratul and all's haram. And that's why it's called takbiratul ihram. Because now you're in a state of ihram. Right? Ain't that beautiful? Takbiratun and all's haram. That means everything that you used to be able to do is now haram. And you can only do what you've been given a permission to do. Can I chew gum?
No.
Can I talk to my man?
No.
Can I put my hands on my head?
No.
Can I put them in my pocket?
No.
Can I stand on one foot?
No.
No, I can't do any of that. Can't do any of that. Even thinking about something else is wrong. Does that make sense? Because we get judged on what you're thinking about. And they don't think about Allah in their salah except a little bit. So what they're thinking about is put to judge. They're in the salah physically, but mentally they're at the beach. Or they're watching that program over again. Or they're thinking about what they're going to do next. You get my point? That's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be focusing on the salah. Takbiratun and all's haram. And you must try your no, what does it say? And we must make our best qiyam. What does that mean? That means that you have to try to stand up. You have to try to stand up. You cannot say, well, you know, I can't do it. I'm just going to sit down. No, you got to start off standing. You walk there. Allahu Akbar. Then sit down. Right? And if you can stand up, then stand up and stand up for the ruku. Maybe you can't stand up and make ruku, but when they stand up from the ruku, you stand up. Does that make sense? And then you sit back down. And then when they stand up for the next ruku, you stand up again. And then sit back down, unless some people, they can't take the bouncing. So then they stand up and then they sit down and they're the judge. They're the faqih. They make that determination. We can't go and say, can you stand up? Can you sit back down and stand up? No, that's not for us to do. Okay, that's between him and his Lord. I'm telling you so you know. Okay, and if the other person doesn't know, it's not for you to put it to him that way unless that you have a relationship with them. Okay, Because what's the ruling on giving someone some detailed da'wah and you have no relationship with him? This becomes makruh. You know why? Because da'wah was supposed to be given when the person likes you, knows you, trusts you or something. You build a rapport, you say it in a way that they can do it. But as soon as you can sense, like in our environments, people just don't like you coming up and talking to them. Then it becomes makruh, because the Allah's messenger said, he says, whoever believes in Allah on the last day, let him say what is khayr, excellent and good, or let him shut up. He didn't say be quiet or uskut. He said liyasmut, which is a strong word for shut up. So we learn when there's language is like that, that means emphasize that you shouldn't open your mouth. So Imam Shaikh, he said what you're supposed to do here is you should weigh it. If it's equal that you speak or don't speak, then you cannot speak. If it's the possibility that this might not be good, then it's haram for you to speak. And only can you speak is if you know it's going to be a good situation in your predominance. Okay? And that's because you have rapport. We try to give da'wah to people we have no rapport with. And then we give it to them dry. No, sir, that's rude, right? Only reason I did it to Dawood, I know he ain't gonna. No, but seriously, you get my point, guys? So we're not thinking about these types of things. All right? And Allah says in the Quran, La khayra fi kathirin min najwa. There's no good what la khayra with a fatha, which means no good whatsoever, shape, form, or fashion in most of your private conversations. إِلَّا مَنْ أَمَرَ بِالصَّدَقَةِ أَوْ مَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ إِصْلَاحٍ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. He said, except the one who's commanding people with sadaqah, from themselves or, that type of thing. أَوْ مَعْرُوف. Ma'ruf is kinayatan ala sharia. Okay? What is easily recognizable as good. أَوْ إِصْلَاحٍ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Which is what we're counseling, teaching, and these types of things. Does that make sense? So Allah is telling us, like we say, La ilaha, la khayra. No good. So you should try to avoid that. Talking. Okay? About, giving da'wah and that type of thing. And even talking, because we're going to be judged on it. So we have to worry about what you say. Right? Every word you say, there's someone writing it down. So, and we must try our best qiyam. So if I can't stand up, then I sit down. If I can't sit down, then I lay on my right side. If I can't lay on my right side, then I lay on my left side. And if I can't do that, I lay on my back or on my head. But I try. I have to make an effort. And whatever that effort can lead me to, that's between me and my Lord. Does that make sense? May Allah allow us to stand up. Say hamdulillah and then ruku, then rise again. Say hamdulillah. Say hamdulillah is kinayatan for saying al-Fatiha. Okay? So you have to say the Fatiha. Do you have to say a surah after that? No. It's not fard. It shouldn't be left off. We're talking about fard, okay? So if you're by yourself, you have to make al-Fatiha. If you forget to make another surah afterwards, then you just pray 2 sajda sahwa afterwards, okay? But you can't say I'm not going to do it intentionally, another surah afterwards. Does that make sense? Now, this is for the imam. Let's say I came to the salah and I'm behind the imam, and the imam says, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ أَلِفْ لَا وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ Ameen. And then he recites Qul huwallahu ahad. And before he finishes, I don't get to say Al-Fatiha. Do I have to repeat the rak'ah?
No.
Why not? Okay, so the Fatiha for the Imam is for the Ma'moon. What about if he's saying it silently? I come to the Salah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and I only said Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Allahu Akbar. Do I stay there and say, I have to follow the Imam. Afterwards I say, no, do I get to complain?
No.
Do I say, okay, now my salah is not this because I didn't get to say Al-Fatiha?
No.
Okay, so we have to make sure we understand that. Okay, because you still have a lot of people thinking that the people in the ranks have to say the Fatiha, and if they don't say the Fatiha, then there's a problem. And if you even go to the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia, which I have, okay, he will say, look, the Fatiha is for the Imam, right? And that's why you say what? Ameen. You get my point? The dua of the Imam is for the people he's praying over. If he makes a mistake, then he's fixing it is for the whole Jama'ah, right? Even if he didn't have wudu and didn't realize it, okay? And prayed the whole Salah and led the people, and then afterwards he realized that it made wudu. His Salah doesn't count. But guess what? Yours does. Does that make sense?
No.
So, تفضل.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
He becomes at 7:45.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وآله وصحبه ومن اتبعه إلى يوم الدين. You see how this starts? Now once we start getting into the acts of ibadah, there has to be some tafsir, there has to be some detail, right?
No.
You had something to say?
Was he had only at the
It's all in the poem. You didn't even have to see this. Okay? But it says, after it says Fatiha only, it says not for the Ma'mun. That was a reminder for myself. Ma'mun are the people who say Ameen. That's what that term is. It's for the people who are following the Imam. And there's a YouTube video, there's a couple of them, about 3 or 4 YouTube videos that anybody could follow, that when the different muftis in Saudi Arabia were asked about is saying Al-Fatiha wajib for the Ma'mun. Each one of them said no. Okay? And so I was amazed because, I know a lot of people who claim to be Salafi follow the Hanbali madhab and follow a lot with Saudi. And I was wondering why they had this strong opinion when the Grand Muftis in Saudi clearly say no. And it's on, and I think I think they might be subtitled. They may not be. I don't know. I can't remember. But I know they're on there like that. And then I started to remember that people are not, connected to studying those aspects of the deen. They'll go and find it and listen to a sheikh talk about what's happening in another country and some beef that there's between this one and that one, but not about the primary issues of the deen, which is, again, due to the education of the West of following scuttlebutt and slander and scandal as opposed to following the deen. You see there's a lot of energy when people are like, yo, did you hear what happened with, so-and-so, Sally Harbi, and this one over here in Yemen? No, I'm from Brooklyn. There's nothing to do with me. Oh, you didn't hear what this one said about that one? No, and I don't care. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? You get my point? But you'll find people following this. This is not from the acts of the people of the past. And it's not from the acts of the believers. Okay? There's no importance in those things. Say Alhamdulillah and then Ruku. Then rise again. So you need to proof on going to the Ruku and getting fully into position and rising up from the ruku'. Okay, and letting every bone get in his position. Okay? Say alhamdulillah and then rise again. Twice on my face. What are we talking about? The two sajdas, not sajda. Sajdatan. Twice on my face and. So if you don't sit between, it's not accepted. So what do some people do? They do like this. They'll go. No, you think I'm joking?
Yeah.
People that do that. Right, yeah, in the ruku, and that's why we said go to ruku, because someone will go like this. Okay? You have to go to ruku. And there's another problem people do. They lean on, they take their hands and they put all the weight on your knees. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to place your hands on. So what it's like, we do martial arts, and you see a guy do martial arts, he'll pay much attention. He'll and he'll turn and he'll do the position and everything. But when it comes to Salah, it's like, where's the firmness for that? Put attention to detail to that. So when you're going to the ruku, you raise your hands and you go to ruku. Now here you're supposed to be moving your hip bone. Okay? So you bend your hip, not your back. Okay? You're standing up straight. You don't bend your neck. Okay? You lock it and you bend from the waist and you hold yourself here. And then you place your hands here. You're not doing like this. You see the difference? You place your hands here. You open your fingers here. And some people think you have to put your elbows up so you're battling guys. No, it's to bring them away. But if someone's standing next to you, use your common sense. Come. Oh, come on over here. Come on over here. He did work out yesterday. Come on. So now if we're in ruku, we go to ruku. Now, I should not be going like this. Do that to me. That's juvenile, man.
Like the kids do.
Yeah, but these adults. I know. It's if I'm here and I'm standing next to the brother, I should try to make my elbow not bother with him.
Yeah,
Okay? If he puts his elbow, I'll put your elbow out. I'll just bend mine this way, man. I don't gotta be like. If my other hand is out, if nobody's there, then I'll put it out a little bit more. But if somebody's there, then I put it in, because the thing about it is not supposed to be all up on your body like this.
How about when you're standing up? Please.
Okay, see. Okay, well, when you're standing up, you don't do this. Okay. This is sadaqah. This is sadaqah. If he wants to go here, that's sadaqah. Let his hand go up there. Okay. Imam Malik, in the madhab of Imam Malik, he used to say, placing, you get more barakah, according to his placing, than you do for grabbing. And he said, because when you grab, you kind of relax. Okay? Now, he says there's three places. One here, one here, and one here. Okay? So grabbing is here, grabbing is here, grabbing is here. Shaykh al-Albani said grabbing is with 4 and 1. 4 and 1. Not like this. Some people be going like this. Because he said it's not correct to place and grab. You either grab or you place. Does that make sense? And Imam Tirmidhi said anywhere you can place it up here. And they all agreed that you can place it on top of your navel, like you see the Hanafis doing a lot of times. And it's very comfortable. Okay? Does that make sense? And not that it's haram to. He said you just get more barakah, and he said he preferred that you would just do it in the sunan salah, when you have to stand for a long time. Now, after he told me that, I don't know what I was doing before that, but after I learned that, I tried to do it just placing. I found out placing was a little bit hard. You have to have more concentration, and that grabbing was a whole lot easier, like that. So that's just an extra thing. It doesn't take away one way or the other. We're just going through it to enjoy our salah. Okay? Does that make sense? So, takbiratun. Now, takbiratun. Do you have to bring your hands up here? No. this thing of his fingers went to his ear is that the highest finger went to the lowest part of his ear. Shahmul udhun. Shahmul udhun is the fat of the ear. What is it called? Earlobe. Shukran. Earlobe. The top finger. Not this. People say Allahu Akbar. No, this is incorrect. The hands go and the hands are forward. Okay? The hands are forward. And when you're doing it, it's symmetric and the fingers are together, not open. And the thumb is part of the hand. So it's not like this. And then you bring it up. Now, you can't bring it all the way up like that. So then a lot of times they bring it to the shoulders. See, like this? This is correct. And does it have to be robotic? No. But it has to have some dignity. You're standing before Allah. And your palms forward. And then you place. Or you grab. Whichever one you feel like. Allahu Akbar. Raising up. They would raise their hands. Some narrations say he raised his hands all the time. But those are very few narrations. When we take, again, this comes to the thing of Ahl al-Hadith again. We're talking now, Ahl al-Hadith meets Usul al-Fiqh. When it comes to touching and grabbing, there's like, I think 17 hadith. One of them says he grabbed his ankle, his elbow. One. Okay? So we consider that not as strong as the other narrations that he's seen doing other things. Does that make sense? We don't say it's wrong, but he more often did this. Like there's a narration that some Sahaba said that he heard the Prophet ﷺ start the Salah by saying, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, with the Basmalah. So we don't say it's haram to do it, but he did it once in a blue moon, right? Because there's only one person narrating that. So we go back to that issue of Salafi. How many narrations did we say that the Prophet said he was Salafi? That one, right? How much strength does that have when he's telling people to be Muslim? Ikhwan and Mu'min. You get my point? So, and it was talking to his daughter, not talking to the Jama'ah, which is another different thing. Does that make sense? The affairs of the house are different than the affairs of his public figure. Just again, these are things people don't think about when we talk about applying hadith. So there are narrations where the Prophet raised his hands in every move that he made. And there are narrations that he raised it 4 times at the beginning, when he went to the ruku', as he came up, and then when he was coming up again from the start of the next one. And some say, no, that's the same as starting. And Allah knows best. But others say that he raised it, he raised it, he raised it, he raised it, he raised it again, raised it, and then raised it. So how, personally, you know how I apply that? When I'm teaching my child to offer salah, you might notice, anybody who's prayed next to my son, sometimes he'll raise his hands for everyone, because I'm teaching him to raise his hands in that way and not to forget, because as a child, he might not do it. Okay? So I tell him that particular style until he learns how to distinguish. You get my point? But I'm not saying that you should do it, but I'm saying that the Prophet ﷺ is authentically narrated that he did do it that way sometimes. Okay? But those narrations are less than the narrations that we have that he did it 4 times. Does that make sense? Does everybody follow me? And it's not one of the fard of salah. You see, it's not an issue of fardiyya. So whether someone did it or not did it, it doesn't violate their salah, does it? No. Except this one, the first one. Does that make sense? The entrance into the salah. So it's not something we should debate about, right? Because it doesn't violate the salah. It's not the fard of the salah. It's not from the fard of the salah. You get my point? It's takmilatu salah. Completes and perfects and beautifies the salah, those issues. So, the knee is made. The knee is made. Before salah. Clear in my head. Takbiratun. And we must try. Say alhamdulillah. Then rise again. Twice on my face. Tashahud comes. Oh, tashahud comes. So we're talking about the second tashahud, not the first. So if the person misses the first tashahud, does the salah invalidate it? No. You guys get my point? Because sometimes what will happen, the imam will forget the second rak'ah, right? He'll just stand up. And then you be like, subhanallah, subhanallah. And you be like, subhanallah, you. And he'll stay standing, right? Because he thinks he's got it. And then at the end of it, somebody will say, subhanallah. And he says, well, let me just pray to sajda, right? For forgetfulness, right? And then afterwards he'll say, you know what? Oh, you forgot the first tashahhud. Okay, it didn't break the salah because it's not a fardu salah. Does that make sense? But the second one is, so write that one down, number 9. Try so I'm going to sit in between. Tashahhud. Tashahhud comes before taslim. We're going to call it the second tashahhud. Then, I'm thinking in Arabic, but it means the second tashahhud. Tashahhud then. Okay? Al-akhir. Now, al-akhir. Shukran. I'm just going to say the last one. Because I know, yes, somebody had the hand up. I saw somebody.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I know that some people would keep saying subhanallah to the imam. If he forgets to sit for the first tashahhud, they will continue to say subhanallah as if he's supposed to sit back down.
Okay.
You know,
It's up to the imam.
up to
So what's the ruling? The question becomes, what's the ruling on correcting the imam? It's very important. We learn so much from Salah that we forget. One of the first things we learn about Salah is that you're supposed to be prepared before you get there. Right? Second is to be on time. It's amazing we still got black people's time after having the invent of Salah. Right? Because you're supposed to be there by the iqamah, right? All right. Third thing is to tell the people when the time is, right? So that they can be there and be prepared for the salah. Fourth thing is following leadership when they make a mistake. Announce it to him, right? But then if he refuses to acknowledge and do what you expect him to do, you still follow. You don't break the salah and say, astaghfirullah, ya this guy. You don't do that. How many times should you remind him that?
What?
No.
twice.
No. 3. There it is. What's the proof that it's 3 times? The Prophet ﷺ, he told us that once you make your requests, what do you make requests? How many times? 3. 3 times. If you're not responding to, what are you supposed to do? Go away. Okay? And this is muqarrar fi sunnah. This is established well in the sunnah. A person would come to the messenger of Allah and ask him a question. He might not say nothing. Which teaches us you ain't got to answer everything. Okay? And they say, come in, Ya Rasulullah, such and such. He don't say nothing. And then, Ya Rasulullah, that's it. All right? That person will be quiet then. And then later on the Prophet said, where's the person that said such and such and so and so? If he would come back to that person. Right? So you make it subhanallah. Maybe he didn't hear me. Subhanallah!
Hey, you.
And now your salah is violated. Because speaking, this breaks your salah. Saying anything besides subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, and those things. It takes up then, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Then he's not going to stop. So what do you say? Allahu Akbar. And follow him. Get my point? And this will help out in marriage. This will help out in brotherly, all the things that we're doing as brothers and sisters, and we pick in the mirror, oh, he's appointed, and that person says something, and we say, subhanallah, akhi, such and such, so-and-so. Subhanallah, akhi, such and such, so-and-so. Yeah, akhi, so-and-so, and so-and-so. All right, well, let's go. They know, they heard, that's their role. It's on them, right? And what's on me is to follow. Does that make sense? All right. Now, tashahhud comes
Before taslim.
with what's it? With itma'in, what? With itma'in, what itma'in, when don't forget the right tartib. If we forget, then the whole salah is null and void. I'tidal and itma'in and i'tidal. Think about the word. What's it from? I'tidal is from adl, justice, right? So i'tidal is that you get in every position. You stand up straight. You go to ruku. You don't be like, some people be like, in position. You You sit, you're not to be slouching. Allah's messenger said that you go until all your bones are in place, right? You're not rushing. I'tidal is that you get there and you get in position. And itma'in is liyatma'inna qalbi. We hear it from Ibrahim, right? So settle my heart, to be calm. Not like Allahu Akbar. No, take it easy. Have some dignity about yourself. That's what it meant. To do it in a dignified way. Does that make sense? That's itma'in. Calm, dignified. That's what it means. And i'tidal is to get into the position before you move out of the position. Does that make sense?
But it's not straightening the lines.
Straightening the lines, we
It's
say
part of it,
that's part of it, but not to, I don't want to say it like that. You know why? Because that's the imam's job, not the people's job.
So he said,
I'tadilu. That means, see, I'm glad you mentioned that. It is from that. I'tadilu wa i'tidal is the same word. I'tidal is just the masdar, and i'tadilu is the fi'l al-amr. So when he says i'tadilu, should you go like this? Should you be like, you brother, sister, No, then the line ain't going to be straight because everybody's, you brother over there. No, he assigned somebody. When we were in the military, we did i'tidal every day, right? Did you ever look? No, you stood at attention and you got together. And even those people that do the stomping thing, they're able to do that, and get in line. Why we can't? Because we don't want to respect each other. And we don't want to follow orders. He ain't talking to me, he talking to y'all. Okay, so everybody is amongst the shura fair. I have to straighten the lines. No, let the imam, part of the job of the imam is to straighten the ranks. If you notice something, I turn around and look at everybody. I turn around, I look. If I have to say something, I'll go say something. If not, then they got it. If the imam is doing his job, you don't have to do his job. Even if he's not doing his job, it's his job. Let him straighten the ranks. He might tell somebody, straighten the ranks. Yeah, go this way, go that way. Over on the end, Abdul Kareem, straighten the ranks. Don't say, well, I don't like Abdul Kareem. He ain't telling me nothing. I am straight. Yo, chill. Hey, move forward, move back. Yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be done. You get in the ring. So we have to, respect leadership. But the i'tidal in general is just in your salah itself that you stand up in a dignified way. One of the things that I really have a peeve about is even after the salah, a lot of the men bend over like this. Okay? Some people put their hands down like this. The Prophet forbade that. He forbade this. What do you call it? Being like a dog. So this is haram. This is makruh. Because it's almost the same thing, right? You guys get my point? When a person's all leaning all forward because they can't sit back, right? So what if you can't sit back? Then sit down on your butt. After salah. Because, then the man all lean forward, bend forward and all this stuff. No, you're supposed to sit up. Why do you think we wear henna in our hair? Because the Prophet didn't want us to look weak. Right? Look like a bunch of old men. Why do you think we run around the Kaaba? Right? So we don't look weak. So when you say, I can't. You've been Muslim 1,500 years and you can't sit straight. Well, if it's a physical thing, then change your position. Umar ibn Khattab could not sit like this. So we have one of the Salaf, right? He could not sit down he couldn't sit in the tashahhud like this. He was a giant. He would crush his legs. You know what he would do? He would say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, Allahu Akbar. He'd go to the sajda, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Tahiyatu Lillah. He used to do it just like leading the salah. Okay? And you can find this in the Fiqh of Umar ibn al-Khattab. How he used to lead the salah. Why? He had a legitimate reason. If he sat in the other way, he would be leaning all forward, because his legs were so big, he couldn't, sit there and would crush his feet. Okay? So he would sit like this. But you sit up, i'tidal, as much as you can, right? Alhamdulillah. After Salah.